Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Tournament Takes. Today we're gonna get into some NBA. Hope you guys had a great Week 15 NFL slate. I haven't done a review video for that. I will actually get to it a little later on this week. Work's been kind of busy for me, but let's get into it. There's a lot of news to get to. It's the kickoff or the tip-off of the NBA season. Plenty of good games tonight. 13 gamer, probably the biggest slate that we've had ever. They were supposed to have a 13 gamer for the live final last year, and it didn't go down. Just to tell you guys a little bit about myself, I've been playing DFS now for a few years. Seriously, I started playing in about 2017. I qualified for the NBA live final last year. Finished in the top 20 last year. I could have done a little bit better, but I wanted to play Damian Lillard, and the optimal play was Luka and Giannis. I played Damian Lillard and LeBron. It was just I told myself if I'd ever get to a live final, I'd be playing Dame Lillard no matter what the price was. And he did fairly well for me, but didn't actually get the result I wanted. Finished in the top 20, but looking forward to expanding on that this season and building on that. So let's get down into it, guys. There's plenty of good plays on this slate. I'm gonna go through very quickly where the plays that I'm targeting, and I think these are some plays that you guys should be looking at as well. First play, we have a lot of news to get to. We know that, James Harden may not go. Possibly he was at a strip club, possibly maybe not suspended, but, violating the COVID protocol, so he may not play this game. He's a great fantasy point per minute producer. John Wall has been ruled out for this game due to contact tracing. So, a lot of people are going to be on Harden in this game. At the top, also you got Luca. With no Kristaps Porzingis against Phoenix and the late night hammer, you're gonna have a lot of ownership going to that. But it is a 13 gamer, guys. So I'm just instead of making this long game by game kind of video, I'm gonna kind of break down the plays that I think you guys should be going to. From the Charlotte and the Cleveland game, I really like this game. This was the game that helped me qualify for the live final. So I'm kind of partial or kind of biased a little bit. I played Terry Rozier in the lineup that I qualified in. I think he's a good play tonight. 5,900. He's not bad. He's not a spot that I'm particularly going to. I do really like Devonte Graham in the situation. He had a pretty good preseason. He dropped 25 points, and now with LaMelo Ball there and Devonte Graham in the starting lineup, I think Terry Rozier is going to be coming off the bench, or LaMelo may be coming off the bench. We're going to have to kind of see how that shakes out. You're going to notice that early in the season there are going to be a lot of kind of feeling out rotations, trying to figure out what the best lineups are. So coaches are going to be playing a lot of their guys. So in a spot like this, I like Devonte Graham. But I really like the power forwards on this slate. There's so many, and they all seem a little bit underpriced. So in this game, on the other side, on Cleveland side, I really like Andre Drummond. I think he is going to get some ownership. Kevin Love is out, and Andre Drummond pretty much is a walking double double. Every game he goes out, he ends up getting 10 points, 10 rebounds. He's had a couple tougher matchups, but in the good matchups, 12 points, 12 boards, he seems to be getting it done. 28 and 17, 21 and 7, 27 and 13. He's just a walking double double. I think that he can hit you this. He has a potential upside in this spot realistically to hit that 55 mark. So I think he's about $1,000 underpriced. I think he should be about 9,000. You have Jokic at 9,600. So I think that $1,000 value is something I want to take advantage of. I really really like him in this game. You could also take, if you want to run back with somebody, stacking is not done as much in NBA as it is in NFL and in MLB. But I do like, kind of bringing it back if this game is supposed to be, anticipated to be a little bit closer. I don't mind bringing it back with someone like a Devonte Graham. So that's something to keep in mind. From this game, these are my two targets. For right now, I'm going to take Devonte Graham out because I like a couple other spots. So I'll kind of get to that shortly. New York and Indy. Now, Miles Turner is back in, but Domantas Sabonis is also like another player that I really like. I feel like, last year we were paying, 8,700, 8,900, 8,700 for him, and he's had a pretty good track record against New York, against Charlotte. If you look at what he did against Charlotte earlier this year, at 9,000, this is the reason why I really like Drummond. This is the kind of stat line I can see Drummond putting up, like I said before, the 55 point. Sabonis also has that double double, walking double double upside. You do get the 1.5 point bonus on there, and he is dishing out some assists. I think his ceiling is very high at 7,400. So he's someone I really want to get in my lineup. Now, like I said, there's a lot of studs on the slate, but I feel like on this slate, there's a lot of guys that are in that, 6 to 7K range that can get you that 50-point upside, and with NBA, it really, like, you really want to come down. It really comes down to how many minutes these guys are playing and how effective they are with those minutes. And I feel like the matchups matter a lot more in NBA than they do in the other sports, even though there is variance. And, you still have players like Giannis who can go out and put up almost 2 fantasy points per minute. But in a matchup against Boston, it's much less likely that he does that. So in this spot, I'm really taking Sabonis. On the other side, New York is still, I think they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do. I think Mitchell Robinson is going to be, he's questionable for this game. A lot of people are going to go to NERLENS NOEL at 3,600. And again, I'm paying for guys on this slate because it's going to be a lot of top heavy. You can go stars and scrubs, meaning that you play, Luka, Giannis. You can play someone like a Damian Lillard, or you can play, you know, Damian Lillard, Luka, Giannis, or a Harden if he goes, and and jam it in with like $3,600 guys. But then you're really hoping that these $3,600 guys like 10x their salaries, right? Like, or give you like 25 points, and those studs go off for those 70-point games. With Kristaps off the court, you could definitely see Luka do that against Phoenix. But I feel like these are other spots where I don't necessarily need. I need a ceiling game, obviously, to win a GPP, but I feel like these are better spots to take advantage of, So for me, these are the first two guys that I'm starting my lineups with today. New York, on the other side, I really don't like bringing it back with anybody. RJ Barrett had a pretty good season. Julius Randle's there. Julius Randle splitting time with Obi Toppin. As we saw in the preseason, if Julius Randle's not playing well, he could get benched, and Toppin can come in. They did give him Julius Randle a big contract. So I do expect him to get the minutes, but at 6,900, I feel like he's accurately priced. So not really somewhere I'm taking advantage of. RJ Barrett, 5,700. I feel like there's other spots on this slate that you can take advantage of. Alfred Payton at 5,400 is intriguing to me. He is getting some, he's going to get some minutes. But again, with, Frank and Nicotina there and Isaiah Quickly, having that big game that he did in the preseason, you might see New York trying to figure out still how these rotations are going to go. So not really somewhere I'm targeting. On the indie side, we also we saw TJ Warren. He had a big season in the bubble this year. 49, 69, 70. He had some really big games. So I think this is a good spot where he can also kind of expand. On that, and take to, kind of pick up right where he left off last season. So I think TJ Warren is also a good play, but again, not somewhere where I'm really going. But I really feel like there's so many spots on this slate. You can there's many different ways to build, but I'll kind of show you guys what I'm targeting. I also do like Malcolm Brogdon a lot in this game. Somewhere I'm really going to try to get to. He doesn't have too much scoring upside, but he has the assists and the rebounds upside. But if I'm just taking one player from this game, I think I want to take a Sabonis. Sabonis gets you those three. He shoots those threes. He can get you that double bonus, possibly even that triple double bonus. And he can put up a 20-20 type game. So somewhere where I really want to go. Miami Orlando next game, not somewhere where I'm really going targeting anybody. Vooch is always good. Butler's always good. But, you have Hero, Dragic, you have Duncan Robinson. I'm not really trying to figure out what they're going to do early in the season. On Orlando, we know that I think one of the guys is out. James Ennis is out. Jonathan Isaac. Yeah, I mean, overall, I feel like these guys are all, appropriately priced. Vooch at 8,200. He does have that, 20-20 upside, but he tends to do it again in a better matchup, and with such a big slate, I feel like Drummond and Sabonis are the spots where I want to go to. Washington and Philly. This is a game I really like. We've seen in the past, these guys, anyone playing against Washington, they tend to, score very well, meaning that these tends to be a high scoring game. Someone who I'm really targeting from this game is Tobias Harris. He does not have Al Horford there anymore this season, and I feel like he was splitting a lot of that time with Horford at the four. So I really think that he's going to take that step forward this season, and he can kind of get you those 15-15 kind of games. And Washington is a really good matchup for him. He has had 32 points here in 37 minutes, 8 for 18. I feel like this is kind of a floor game for him. 37 minutes obviously is not it's a pretty high projection number, but 31 to 32 minutes, I feel like he can get you 40 points, and at 6,000, that's even if he gets you this 32 or 30, that's a 5x to 6x. To win a tournament, essentially you want 6 to 7x on your players, or maybe even 8x out of your 5K players. But I feel like this is a guy. I'm just on this slate. I'm targeting guys who I think can go out and get me 50 points. All things said and done. And a lot of people are going to be taking Tobias Harris. A lot of people are going to be paying up for Luka. So this 6,000 range, I think you're going to have a mixture of lineups that are both stars and scrubs. And then you're going to have a lot of lineups that are going to be between 6 to 7,000. So Tobias Harris is someone I really want to go to in this game. You could make a case for Ben Simmons, but at 8,700, I feel like he's kind of expensive in this scenario. He's had pretty good games against Washington as well last season. There's not really many people to guard him. On the other side, on Washington, you do have Russell Westbrook here now, and Bradley Beal in the mix, so they are going to be splitting the usage. But I still expect Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal both to have high usage. Someone I really like on this side is Davis Bertans. He signed a big contract in the offseason, and I can see them giving Davis quite a few minutes here. And Rui Hachimura is also out. This is one of the guys I think I'm going to be targeting quite a bit. I feel like he's in a really good spot against Philly. He shoots the three well. But all things said and done, for right now, I'm going to take him out of my line because I like, again, it's a 13 game slate. I like some spots a little bit better. But, if you are targeting this game, I will have some exposure to Davis Bertans on that side. Again, Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, they're good, but Philly's, a little tougher. Russell Westbrook likes to drive the ball. You have Embiid inside blocking the paint. You got Ben Simmons guarding Westbrook. Even though Ben Simmons may not be the best defender, he's still pretty good, and I feel like they match up well. So it's not somewhere I really want to take advantage of. That's why I just want Tobias Harris on this side. Milwaukee and Boston. This is the kind of game I'm going to be staying away from. This game is going to be. I think it's going to be a little lower scoring. A lot of people are going to be going to Giannis. Giannis has had problems against Boston in the past. So not somewhere I really want to target. For me, on a 13 game slate, this is kind of a cross-off game to me. I don't want to figure out on Boston if it's going to be Tatum or if it's going to be Smart or if it's going to be Teagues now there. Teagues now in Boston. You have Marcus Smart starting. Kemba Walker's out until I think January. So not somewhere where I really want to go to on either side. In Milwaukee, you still have some new rotations as well. You have Drew Holiday here now. They got rid of Eric Bledsoe. Drew Holiday is a good fantasy point per minute producer, and I think he will get the minutes against Boston. But not somewhere, again, I really want to go. So moving on to the next game. New Orleans, Toronto. This is the game I really like, guys. I think this game is going to go severely underowned. Fred VanVleet is in a really good spot here against New Orleans. New Orleans tends to play fast, and I think the Raptors might play up to their tempo in this game. So he's someone where I really, really think that he's going to go super underowned at 6,700. He can, get those 50-point type games again. And, I feel like at this spot, he should be priced at least about 7,400. You could also make a case for Kyle Lowry on Toronto, but like I said, I just like the pricing on Fred VanVleet a lot better. I think he's really underpriced in the spot. The post in the post matchup for this game, you got Zion Williamson. At 7,500. You got Siakam. Both are decent. I don't really want to figure out who's going to be, who's going to get the better of that matchup there. You got Brandon Ingram on the wing against Toronto. Toronto has some pretty good wing defenders in OG Anunoby and Norman Powell. OG Anunoby is a pretty good defender. So I don't really want to, take some shots there. And again, Toronto plays a little slower, so I don't want to play someone like Alonzo Ball at 6,500. I'd rather take the better matchup and Fred VanVleet and kind of move on from there. Atlanta and Chicago. This is another game I really do like, guys. We know Chicago. One thing I think is Levine is going to be pretty highly owned in this game. Levine, Kobe White had an amazing preseason. So on this side, I'm kind of off both of these guys because I feel like they take enough away from each other to not make any of them a smash. They're both priced pretty cheap. Levine plays 30 some odd minutes, But the problem is, this season he's been getting a little bit in the preseason. He's been getting a little bit more in terms of peripheral stats. But for him to put out 50 points against Washington, he's got to go out and shoot 32 times. He's much more dependent on scoring than anything else. And then Atlanta not having Clint Capella, I think it could be a good spot for him. I think Capella is going to be ruled out this game, or he has been ruled out. I feel like Levine could be in a good spot, but it's just again on a 13 game slate. It's not somewhere where I'm really targeting. I know a lot of people might be playing either from Chicago. They might be playing Wendell Carter Jr. or Larry Markkinen. Larry Markkinen at 4,800 is really, really intriguing to me. 26, 27 minutes. I really think that I'm going to have some exposure to him for the sake of this lineup. I'm not going to put him in right now, but I like him better than Davis Bertans. If he does get the minutes, I definitely, they weren't able to come to a contract agreement. So it's something to kind of keep an eye on. So I think maybe he has a little something to prove when he does get out there, and he might go out and get have a pretty good game. So it's something to keep an eye on. In the meantime, I want to touch on Otto Porter Jr. I think Otto Porter Jr. is in a really good spot here at 5,200. Someone that I am going to be targeting in my lineups. He's coming off the bench. He should have high usage with that second unit. So I really think that I like this spot for him. On the Atlanta side, I really like. I really like Bogdan Bogdanovic. We saw that now he's here in Atlanta. They're going to need some production from their wing players, and if he's shooting the ball well, I think he could be a good spot. Chicago has been a lot better against the guard than a few other teams, so I'm not entirely sold on him at 5,000. I think there's one other spot that I like a little bit better, but someone that I really want to kind of keep in mind. At the power forward is the position where I really want to go. Okay. And this is kind of what I was telling you guys. Chicago historically hasn't been a great rebounding team. And John Collins, again, is a type of player that can go out and get you those 50 type fantasy point games, right? So at 7,600, I really like John Collins in this lineup. And I told you guys, I like a lot of power forwards and a lot of centers. The slate is absolutely loaded at guard, so there's plenty of value. I like the big guys a little bit better on this slate. So I really like John Collins in this scenario. He can go out and get you that double-double. He can shoot the three ball. If the game is close, I definitely see him getting run here, especially with no Clint Capella there. I don't know if Alex Len is still there. So Alex Len is not in Atlanta anymore. They do have Gallinari, which takes some away from him, but I think overall, I really like John Collins in the spot. He's going to be playing the five against someone like a Wendell Carter Jr., and I think that he can get the better of that matchup. And especially if people are going to be on Wendell Carter Jr., I'd rather take the other side of that game. OKC Houston. This is a really good spot, guys. Houston, we know that, again, John Wall is out for this game, most likely. James Harden's questionable. Eric Gordon was someone I was on already. I think he is going to be the chalk. In this matchup, OKC hasn't been pretty good against the wings in the past, and they haven't really got much better this season. In fact, they've gotten a lot worse. Eric Gordon's slash and cut to the basket type player, and there's no Steven Adams protecting the paint right now. So I really think that he's in a good spot at 5,000. I feel like he can go out and get you 35 to 40 fantasy points. Get you that 7 to 8x. Someone that I'm really targeting, someone that I really want to get into my lineups. On the other side of this game, I really do like Houston. You could take, I'll just touch. I really don't like anybody else. I mean, you could take some shots on Harden, Daniel House, Tucker. Christian Wood is actually in a really good spot. Again, there is no Steven Adams. I may consider Christian Wood in my lineups. The thing is, he's only center eligible, so he's taken up a util spot, whereas in John Collins, I can play him at power forward. But I do like the pricing on Christian Wood significantly better than I like the pricing on John Wall. So I may have the same type of core build right here with a difference of Wood and John Collins, right? So if I plug in, let's say, if I plug in Christian Wood. It opens up a little more salary for me, right? So let's get Harden out of there. So back to OKC. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a pretty good offseason. he had a pretty good preseason. I mean, there's really nobody there to take away any usage from him. So you're going to see a lot of people play George Hill, and it's because that he's going to go out and get you, 28, 29 minutes. I definitely think he does have that, 8x upside in this spot, and he can get you 24 to 25 points. But again, if I'm spending 3,600, that's a type of a player that I think I want to maybe play in more builds than I'm playing, Luka and Giannis. If I'm going a mid-range build, I don't really want to take any exposure to George Hill. I want to kind of get 40 to 50 points from all my positions is what I'm kind of gunning for today in this particular lineup. Okay, so I do think that Shea is a good play. I think George Hill is going to be chalk, and I think he's good chalk. But in a build like this, I'm not going to have in my lineup. Typically I don't like the stars and scrubs approach on this slate. I just feel like again, there's so many underpriced guys on this particular slate that I want to take advantage of. So I don't really want to go to and spend up for those big guys when I feel I can get similar production out of cheaper guys. Okay, San Antonio at Memphis. Memphis again, guys. There's we got Dylan Brooks. I think it is a really good spot. John Morant's in a good spot. He's priced up to 8,400. Um, you know, San Antonio hasn't been great against the guard. I really like Dylan Brooks in this spot, but it really depends on if he's shooting the ball well or if he's not shooting the ball well, because he's kind of like Levine in the sense where he doesn't really provide you too many assists and too many rebounds. I mean, he has games that he does that, but his upside is what, maybe 40 points. So I kind of do like him a lot. But I like one other player a little bit better on the other side of this game that I'll kind of touch on momentarily. Kyle Anderson, a slow mo, I think it's a good play. They call him slow mo because he moves in slow motion. I think he's going to get some minutes. 4,200, I feel like he's a really good price. If I'm targeting the Memphis side, I would probably target Brooks, number one, Kyle Anderson, number two, and I don't really like anything else from this side. Moving on to San Antonio, guys, I really like this spot for DeJounte Murray. He is probably going to be chalk. And again, this is the type of player where I think you can get that 30 to 40 point upside. So he does have peripherals. He does get you assists. He does get you rebounds. So I think now with Derek White being out in this game and then moving Brent Forbes, he really only has Patty Mills behind him and Lonnie Walker splitting the minutes at shooting guard. He's going to be playing 30 minutes a game if I had to guess. So I really like DeJounte Murray. Detroit and Minnesota, I'm not really going to this game. I haven't really broken it down much, not really getting there. I don't like much in that game at all, to be honest. You could play Towns, you could play, you could play Blake Griffin on the other side, but not really somewhere that I'm targeting. I think people might play Plumlee. Sacramento and Denver, I think is a really good spot for Joker. But again, I'm not paying up, for that 9,600 range. So, it's somewhere where I think you can go, but not really somewhere that I'm interested in. Shooting guard, I think Buddy Hield is solid. I may be rotating him in with Fred VanVleet, but Buddy Hield could put up quite a big game. So something that I think you guys want to be interested, you guys should be looking at. But overall, if I had to choose, I'd probably take Fred VanVleet in a higher total environment a little better over Buddy Hield. I'd play Buddy Hield if I am playing Jokic. I'd play Buddy Hield in that lineup. Other than that, not really anywhere I'm going on Sacramento, Denver. Utah, Portland. I think Dame. Dame is in a great spot. 9,000. It's going to go under owned. Dame can go out and get you 60 points any given night. He has that type of ceiling, just like the other studs on the slate, but not really somewhere where I'm targeting again, guys. So, it's you guys kind of got to pick and choose your spots. So not really somewhere where I'm going. And then Dallas and Phoenix. People are going to play Luka, but they got Chris Paul there now. Chris Paul's better defender. Luka is pretty much matchup proof at this point, and there is nobody else out there really aside from Tim Hardaway Jr. that's taken away usage from him. So he is in a really good spot. Personally, I'm not really going here. That leaves you about 4,800 to forward. You can kind of tinker with this a little bit and kind of figure out what you guys want to do. But if I had to let you guys know what my core is going to be, it's going to be these. It's going to be this right here. So I am going to be targeting, maybe with the exclusion of Fred VanVleet, I am going to be targeting Eric Gordon, Tobias Harris, Sabonis, and Drummond a lot. And I think these four are complete smash plays, guys. So good luck on today's slate. Keep an eye on the news. With NBA, there's stuff always changing, so you want to kind of keep an eye on anything that's always going on, affecting starters and stuff like that. But don't overreact. You make educated decisions and make decisions based on not only your research but your gut, your instinct. With NBA, yeah, you rely on projections heavily, but sometimes like maybe the matchups people don't look at as much, and they just look at fantasy points for a minute, and they don't really pay attention to those things. They don't really pay attention to matchup as much. So especially early in the season, if you kind of know what teams made some differences, what team made some adjustments, you can kind of figure out where the ball is going to go and kind of what exploit matchups to exploit. So Toronto, New Orleans is kind of the same starting rotation from last year, so that's why I really like Fred VanVleet. Um, I like Eric Gordon because we know that these other studs are going to be out. I was on Eric Gordon anyway because OKC's historically been bad against the wing and they've just gotten worse. Tobias Harris, I think he can get you that 40 to 50 point upside, 35 to 40 easily. And Sabonis, I think, and this is my core right here, guys. This is the five guys I'm going to be going, and I'm just going to be cycling through with those $5,000 to $6,000 forward with maybe like a Al Horford, Christian Wood. Maybe I plug in Horford and Wood. I don't know if I can actually get both. And then maybe that leaves you like enough for, say like, not really going to play any Aaron Holiday or any Jordan Clarkson. Yeah, you tinker with it, right? Figure out where you guys want to go. Maybe you play Lonnie Walker here instead of playing, DeJounte Murray. So there's plenty of good spots on this slate, guys. For me, I think this is more of a balanced type slate. You guys can do stars and scrubs. You guys, if you guys wanted to do that, you could plug in like someone like a Luka and Harden. If Harden plays, he's gonna have pretty much the ball the entire time. It's like we've seen this. We've seen what he does in the past without anyone really there to take any minutes from him. So John Wall's out, Harden's a great play. But overall, guys, I think the balance build is where I'm going. Good luck today, and hope you guys do well. And I'll see you guys back here for the NFL video shortly. Take care.